This is Actar's Reviews, from anime to figures and beyond.
Hey, this is Actar and you're watching another episode of Actar's Figure Reviews. Today, we'll be taking a look at what appears to be one of the highlights of the upcoming Transformers Kingdom line, Kingdom Blackarachnia. For those of you who don't already know, Beast Wars is back in a big way and the figures are looking to be absolutely amazing. It's kind of fortuitous that many of these figures are coming out after their MP counterparts, as they are able to borrow and utilize all of that amazing engineering groundwork that's already been laid out. And it can't be any clearer than with Kingdom Blackarachnia with how similar she is to the MP. Just like the rest of the figures in the line, the Beast mode is a far more gritty and realistic representation of a spider when compared to the original show model. But it's precisely because of the freedom gained from not having to adhere to the show model that the Kingdom figure looks far more cohesive than the MP, especially when it comes to the spider abdomen. The legs now fold up horizontally instead of vertically, allowing the figure to hide the gold of the lower legs far more effectively and seamlessly. It also helps that the feet are black instead of purple. Unfortunately, you do still get the gold of the knees sticking out from the front. However, that's not as bad as the shoulders sticking out from the bottom of the spider cephalothorax. At least it's not her boobs, which is what most were assuming after the initial pictures leaked. I guess you could say that those are her spider mandibles, but I think that's kinda stretching it. Looking at the figure from the bottom, the similarities to the MP become even clearer as we see that the general placement of all the parts are exactly the same, with the hands once again not becoming the palps, unlike with the original figure. It's really cool how the bottoms of the feet have been molded to fit the hands exactly. In the spirit of 4 parts, we also see the robot mode's waist chilling there right on the back. The figure comes once again with her classic gun and anchor, which are sadly molded in one piece. Just like the MP, the weapon stores beneath her spider mode. It pegs into her wrists. Last but not least, this spider mode does indeed have rather decent articulation. Each of its legs are ball jointed at a single point, and the legs themselves can hinge together at the root. And I'm glad to report that the figure can support itself on its own legs, unlike many other insect or spider figures. And now then, here's where it gets really impressive. As mentioned previously, the transformation is basically the MP's transformation, albeit simplified. Or perhaps I should say, optimized. Blackarachnia, terrorize! We first start off by detaching the weapon from the underside of the spider mode. Pull down the arms on the shoulder joints. Extend the legs out from the spider abdomen. Pull out the arms away from the cephalothorax. Rotate them around. Spread them open and collapse them back into place. Take the backpack and move it out of the way on this double hinge. Fold down the entire front half of the spider mode and lock it in place by collapsing the waist. Collapse the backpack in on itself. Lock the chest in place and straighten out her arms and legs. In my opinion, the robot mode is an absolute winner. Putting her side by side next to the MP, you can see how spot on it is in terms of its sculpt and show accuracy. The only real issue being the larger backpack that breaks up the silhouette. In terms of painted details, they managed to capture all of the important stuff, including the absolutely minuscule hourglass symbol on her forehead, the Predacon symbol, and of course the spider legs on her iconic chest. The articulation is also really good. Most of the joints are relatively unhindered and offer a really wide range of articulation, though this is one area in which the MP has this figure soundly beat. The head is on a ball joint that's also on a hinge joint. She can look up, she can look down, she can look all the way around. Her shoulder unfortunately can't go all the way up thanks to the design of the shoulder pad. However, it can still go all the way around, in and out. The spider legs are independently articulated on this hinge, and she does have a 90-degree elbow joint. While there's a swivel joint above the elbow, there is no lower wrist joint. Thanks to the transformation, she doesn't feature any kind of a waist joint. The legs are unfortunately limited by the wide hips, as the figure doesn't feature any kind of extendable hip joint that the MP does. So if you want to get the leg any higher than this, you'll first have to move it out of the way and only then can you move it above the hip joint. Aside from the hip, the leg is pretty much unhindered. It can move side to side and all the way back. The leg has a thigh swivel, 360 degrees, no problem. The knee joint, it's a 180 degree bend thanks to the transformation, very impressive. And last but not least, as for the feet, it can move forwards and backwards, not so much backward, but it can also pivot from side to side. The spider legs are still posable, allowing you to recreate her shooting her signature machine guns. In addition to her gun, which she can hold in either hand, she also comes with an exchangeable faceplate that harkens back to her original figure's face sculpt. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show this feature off on camera, as the default face on mine is nearly impossible to remove. Hopefully, it's just limited to my copy. However, this is a close approximation of what she'd look like. In conclusion, Kingdom Blackarachnia is definitely a figure to get if you're a fan of the character and or design. She's pretty much a mini MP at a fraction of the MP's price. Even if you already have the MP, this figure still has its own unique elements that sets it apart, like the realistic beast mode and simpler transformation. And if this is an indication of the quality of what's to come with the line, consider me on board. So, this is AFR saying, see you guys in the next episode.